Is he the one for our community? The answer, after what happened Friday, we have to say no. As he goes in and out of the black community, telling our people, because our township is closed, it's nothing he can do for us. But then came New Trier Township, which was closed, and he belatedly lowered their property taxes by 19%. I know it makes you mad because it made me mad. And I was downtown Friday, and I testified at the assessment hearing. And I held up that Sun Times. And I tell you, if he can do that for up north, he can do it all over town. Part two.
We got time's up.
Oh,
We're
man.
giving you a few extra minutes. If the audience says okay, we want to hear
It's
it.
okay.
Part two.
Glory.
Illinois has the most units of government of any state in the country. Many of its 7,000 units of local government are overlapping, duplicative, and contribute to Illinois' growing debt, waste, and corruption, and more government bodies Illinois has, the higher your property taxes go. Illinois is the second highest property tax in the nation, and without a significant consolidation of government entities, Illinois should only expect their tax bills to rise. Among the top candidates for consolidation are the state 856 local school districts, which consume nearly 2/3 of $30 billion in local property taxes that local government across Illinois collects each year. Also, did you know, in 1940, we had 12,000 school districts. Now we're down to 856, and those 856 cost us $1 billion a year that is wasted. Now, the Metropolitan Planning Council drives home why we absolutely need to be focused on ways to save tax dollars and funnel more of it into the classroom on quality services for our children. Author Adam Slade and Nick McFadden recently told a House Education Committee to consider Illinois not only spent more than $1 billion on general administration, the most of any state. It spent more than 10% of the total general administration spending nationwide. In 1995, the Chicago Sun-Times told the state that they need to overhaul the way in which they fund education. Well, it's 2019, and the time is now to have one statewide budget for education and consolidate the 856 school districts down to 102, because we have 102 counties. It is time to get the schools off the property tax system, and that would cut taxes big time. This is why the people need the 2022 plan and Proposition 2022. September 25th, 2019, the tax stop.
Amen.
All right.
Just as a point of reference, the reason we extended the time because this brother, Anthony Travis, the tax doctor, has traveled all over the state talking about these issues. And one of the reasons we're here, and I know state representatives will back us up on this, is because of you and also because of the work that Brother Travis has done diligently. He's been at our meetings twice here at CNOM. We're going to have him back so he can give more information in the near future. God bless you, and we speak blessings and healing over your life. Next, we have Brother Clifton Graham, who's going to come up. Please introduce yourself, Brother Cliff. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to repeat everything he said. I've been with him the whole time, and appreciate all the documents I've been through with him. I've been a resident in the south suburb for over 49 years. I'd like to thank Representative Flowers for coming outside her area, jurisdiction, to come and support what I call the worst tax reparation, I call this. I've been overtaxed for so long. Now, I do remember. And but I'm going to go through, because Representative Flowers wanted to make sure that we follow through with section 1.2. It says to create and utilize a racial and economic equality lens to identify the causes of increasingly burdensome property taxes across Illinois. Review the best practices and public policy strategies that create short-term and long-term property tax relief for homeowners, and make recommendations to assist in the development of short-term and long-term administrative, electoral, and legislative changes needed to create short-term and long-term property tax relief for us. For us. Everything that they have put on the table has been illegal. This line right here comes from the government, and she wants to see that we get our due share. Not talk with reality. I would not be here, former president of NAACP of the South Suburban region, focusing on economics and these high taxes while I was there, leaving because not enough effort to stop this. I'm going to read to you my problems. I came from 92 Hazel Crest in 1992, and I moved to Country Club Hills in 1993. My wife and I purchased our home in Country Club Hills for $235,000. At that time, that was $35,000 below the market value. It was a foreclosed property, okay? Almost 20 years later, it is worth less than the $235,000 due to the overassessment of our taxes in the black communities in Illinois. My property taxes have doubled from $7,000 to $14,000, while I was in the north side, downtown, and white communities. Property taxes go down while also doubling in their property value. I've seen businesses leave because of high property taxes and clear red line. We have seen Lincoln Mall leave. They're making money. They were creating tax dollars for more than 4 or 5 communities. Gone. We've seen Cracker Barrel, 2 Applebee's. But we've been fortunate enough to get 5 Walmarts. Hey, you got a joke. But they have, Walmart is a serious economic king in our community, and we receive less tax dollars from them than anyone else. But they pulling in $1 million a week. Each one of them. They're not going broke in our community. And that's one source that we can do to turn that economic tide of giving away our TIF money and transferring it to something that we never see. I've seen people's taxes triple within the first years of them owning their home. And if, excuse me, I lost track. I've seen developers mislead future owners, showing homeowners developer taxes. That way you thinking your property tax is $6,000, the realtor show you it's $6,000, then when you get there, the next year it's $8,000, then the year after that is $10,000, then next you know it's $15,000, and next year it's $20,000. Okay? I've seen it. My neighbors walk away from their home where the tax went from $9,000 to $23,000 in the span of 3 years. I have seen people, let me see, now, if my family takes over my mom's home, she lives in Park Forest, her property taxes will increase 10 times that amount that she's paying right now. So it'll go from $500 to $5,000. How did I know? Because for some reason, I was a little late on the township and they sent me a $5,000 bill, okay? So that'll tell you right there, that with the seniors, they're denied their fair share too because they gotta constantly repeat. My mother's 81 years old. 81 years old, and she's with a walker. How's she gonna go up there every year? I gotta go up there. So we're losing money there. The seniors are getting devastated by these high property taxes. I've appealed numerous times for 20 years on my property tax value for less than my purchase. I've appealed numerous times by myself, with my neighbors, with NAACP, with my former homeowners association as president, with few relief. Many times the lower amount will be assigned to my neighbor and transferred back to me a few years later. This is documented. My current value is not a true estimate because of how the foreclosures and resale price are not calculated to the value. It misrepresents the bottom line because of this large corporate investors that came in and purchased as low as $50,000 and resold for 4 times that purchase price. I rented for far less than ownership property tax base. I've seen it. I pressed the button on those homes and asked how much is rent? $1,600? $1,600? On a home that I know property tax is $20,000? It don't add up. I have seen residents move from one side of the community and rent on the other side of the community because they can live better. You're better at renting in the community than buying in the community. In closing, this and many other loopholes has created a clear, unfair racial and economic lens that causes an increasingly burdensome property tax on myself, my family, my community, and my people. Thank you.
Giving honor to God. I can't help but say thank you. It's a blessing. I do want to acknowledge other elected officials that are in the House. Trustee Lloyd Cotton is here. Trustee Paula Farr and Trustee Robbie Craig. We welcome you and thank you for being here.
Raise your hand.
Did I miss anybody? Raise your hands. Paula Farr, give me your name, sister.
Trustee Cassandra Massey, Olympia Fields.
Trustee
Cassandra Massey,
Olympia Fields, welcome. Amen. Real quick, just the next person up after me is Pastor Martin Stratton. So I'm going to call that person to come up now so you can stand up here with me, behind me on the side, right here in the corner, if you don't mind. I'm going to read my statement as a panelist real quick.
3 minutes.
Thank you, because they know that I'll keep talking. I want to do this and say to you, we promised an hour and 20 minutes, hour 15 minutes, and we're making it. So let me get to this. To our governor, Pritzker, State Representative Mary Flowers, to our who's the chairperson of the Governor's Property Tax Relief Task Force and Legislative Hearing, on behalf of the concerned neighbors of Matheson, we are here today, this Wednesday, 25th, 2019, giving testimony regarding the historically documented discriminatory evaluation or equalization ratios that have been imposed on higher tax predominantly on African American communities and neighborhoods, and especially in the south suburbs. Let the record also note that our population here in Matheson is 82% Black, African American, but there are also, we represent in this community 12.9% white community, 2.63% Hispanic or Latino. So we want to make sure that we're representing you as well. Clearly the issues contributing to racial divide in Cook County, Illinois, were all documented. We do not need any more empirical and anecdotal reports and research data. All of it is already available, and the documentation that I've given to the Illinois Department, Sam, raise your hand, Illinois Department of Revenue's here recording this. He already has the documents. You have a sheet in your chair or in your hands now. You could actually read what I'm reading. These are documents that are factual, that we're standing on. So we're saying to our governor and to all involved, to our senator, fix the Cook County broken, unfair tax system. Just fix it. No more studies, no more research. Simultaneously demand the end of redlining. There are thousands of reports, hundreds of reports, and more recently there's a report that was done by the Retail Studies Support that was done by 4 suburbs here, and I'll share it with you in just a minute, But the redlining hinders economic development in African American villages in Matson and in the South suburban villages and townships, neighborhoods across Cook County. CNOM further decrees that Cook County does not need more studies. I've said that. The following 6 documents substantiate the racial divide that's in America and that's in this county of Cook County. And to this legislative hearing, we thank our state representative for having the courage to step up and say, let's go to the community to have this hearing instead of downtown. Normally, you have to go downtown. She wanted this in the community, and there are 5 more that are being scheduled. And so with that, the first document is called the Testimony of Robert Weisberg, Weisberg Board of Commissioners in Cook County. This was given at the Finance Committee July 18, 2017. This testimony documents that he had done research dating back to 2010, and the data, actually 2009, and the data documents in that information, the further information, the plethora of factual findings of the University of Illinois and the University of Chicago. Robert Weisberg further states the key issue is he wants to focus on improving the assessment system to be more fair. Number 2, the training report that you already had. Training, Research, Advocacy, Education Network, and they said the most problematic assessment challenges Illinois has today is the officials are faced with having to be fair, equitable, and coming up with an equity taxation in neighborhoods with large numbers of distressed sales. Number 3, the Sun-Times article just recently, a Cook County assessor, Kagi, who came out here in June, said there was nothing he could do to reduce our taxes, now has given 18% tax reduction to 1,136 homeowners in New Trick.
Where?
New Trick. A mansion in the article on Locust Grove in Winnetka is one of 1,136 New Trick Township homes that are being reduced. The 7-bedroom, 8-bedroom house was purchased for in 2017 for $3.5 million. Assessor wants to reduce the value of the house from $3.7 to $2.4 million to reduce their taxes on 1,000+ homes. This is unprecedented, an unprecedented move by the first Cook County assessor who's newly elected, and he's slashing taxes, and that's unfair and unheard of and unconscionable and spiritually corrupt and morally corrupt. The Chicago Tribune reporter, Ray Long, has an article, and I'm not going to read it, but it documents and shows the equalization ratio is also reduced taxes across the county, but it has been ignored for centuries and years. Robert Jason Grotto Hall Dardick's independent study dated February 15, 2018, and that investigation, Tribune says, that Cook County residential property tax assessment under Joseph Barrows has been error-ridden, unfair, and flawed. Number 6, the former Cook County assessor Joseph Barrows letter in 2016 to Norwood Township. Homeowners were given airport noise assessment tax reductions because of noise pollution from new construction at O'Hare Field. And they also gave tax reductions to the following communities in townships: Maine, Layton, and Jefferson Park Township in 2016. And that carries over to now 2019. The South Suburban retail investment that was done between 4 different villages here, the village of Matson, Olympia Fields, Park Forest, and Richton Park. That study also documented and signed by 4 previous mayors of the villages represented, yet there is no economic development. $228,000 was spent on that report. There's no economic development plans in Matson that speak to the 7 districts, and even with Fair Housing Act in 1968 and further prohibited the Community Investment Act, it has not necessarily ended. Some argue that they continue to say that patterns of racial segregation in our country, and especially in the Chicago region, we have evidence that individual and institutional prejudices continue to denigrate our racially mixed and non-white communities. That is the conclusion of my report, and I thank you for allowing all my documents have been supported, have been submitted. The next person up, and I do want to acknowledge Mr. David Leaney. He's from First American Bank. Some of you got some material in your chair. I don't know if you're doing your workshop coming up next month, but thank you so much for coming. Did you need to say something, because we're going to get into the other hearings? No. Thank you. Appreciate you coming. Let's go with Pastor Mark Stratton. And then next, coming after you, is Melody Seaton. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I know Senator Hastings here and Anton. I want to thank them for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you. Just real quickly, just so you can know a little bit about me, I'm one of the pastors at Victory Apostolic Church. But also, I'm a real estate broker, and I'm an ex-city planner with the city of Chicago. So as far as understanding the tax base and everything, I have a pretty good understanding of what's going on. But just so you know, my personal situation, I live in Flossmoor. We moved out here 13 years ago. At the time we purchased our house, our home appraised at $1 million, and our taxes were $15,000. If we were to try to sell our house today, we'd be lucky to get it $400,000, but my taxes are now $30,000. So it's an inverse relationship there that shows that there's something really wrong with the system as far as I'm concerned. Now this goes against what you said because I have a higher value home and I have higher taxes as well. But that's out here in the south suburbs. So I've done research looking around the area. There's a house across the street from me that was on the market at $850,000. They just sold it. It has not sold. It was brand new construction for $239,000. And those taxes are now $23,000. I found another house where the taxes are $45,000. So in Flossmoor, we're getting hit, and it doesn't matter about being low home value or high home value. We're getting killed out here. It's insane. And I just wanted to share that with you all. From what I can see, I'm looking at more foreclosures in Flossmoor than has ever existed before. And my wife and I, we decided we're not going to go any further with this. Our house, last year, we got a modification. They set our payment. 2 months later, my taxes went up. The mortgage company contacted us and told us we now have to pay another $900-something a month because the taxes went up. You know our taxes are in arrears. So we got to not only make up the difference for the arrears, they want extra money for the future. So that's why it went up $900. So we're not paying. We're just not going to do it. I'm just going to let the house go, whatever. But I'm saying this to you all because I want everyone here to understand what's going to happen here. They will fix this problem. They will. It's just a matter of when. See, 10 years from now, the Southlands will be empty. And these houses will be empty. They're not going to be collecting any tax because people are going to walk away. Then they'll fix it. Because like I said, the house around the corner from me is sold for $239,000. That's the only way. We can't get the values out here anymore. And I just want everybody to understand, if they don't do something now, this is what's going to happen. Thank you. And I'm available if they put this task force together to help them see what we need to do. One more quick thing, we need to get a grip on these taxing bodies. They need to have oversight because there's no way they should be able to just arbitrarily, HF High School built that gymnasium, now they're building a fine arts building, and that's just going to increase our taxes. You know what I'm saying? But if you look at the school report card, their performance is going down. We're paying for a mosquito abatement. I can't go out my house after 6 p.m. Thank you. Sister Mark, that was Pastor Mark Stratton. Next is Melody Seaton. Hallelujah. Come on up. Amen. Before you do that, I was an announcement I need to make. State Representative Tom Morrison is on the line, and he can hear us. So we just want you to know they do have it hooked up where other people can hear. And so if you want to stand right there, as soon as she finishes, Melody, go right ahead.
Okay.
Can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Melody Seaton. I'm a resident of Matson, and I'm also a pastor of a church in Sauk Village, Illinois. I moved here in 2006 with my husband and my 2 children, who were both in college at the time. My husband passed away. I'm sorry. My husband passed away a year and a half after we moved out here. I was fortunate enough to get a loan modification so that I could keep my home and keep my children in school, as we had wanted to do. And now here we are 13 years later. I'm retired. And I do not know how long I'm going to be able to stay in my home. And that's just the real. I was a principal in Chicago Public Schools. I get a pretty decent pension, but it's not enough. It is not enough. If every time I look around, the taxes are going up. I have to drive out of the neighborhood in order to do anything. That's a waste of gas. When I moved here, I could grocery shop, I could clothes shop, I could do anything else I needed to do. But I cannot do that now. And I just don't know what's going to happen. And as Pastor just said, when we all walk away, then what? That's going to destroy the rest of the community. I don't want to do that to my neighbors. Sometimes I toy with that. I even told Denise one time, I'm just going to walk away. But I'm going to fight as long as I can. But it's hard.
We called you up earlier. She is responsible for all of us also being here. She worked diligently to make sure this was done properly. Come on up, Sister Professor Graves. We thank you for your hard work too. Been enjoying working with you.
Yeah, I am Professor Graves, but I'm coming up here as Prophetess Graves. Two P's, so God don't make mistakes. However, I'm also the apartment lady, and I'm the founder of Apartment Housing Rental Foundation, which is a 501c3 organization. And what we do is we help people with second chance rental, and we do an eviction prevention program. The property tax, although my clients do not own property, but their rent is affected because of these property taxes. When I hear that owner that has a property tax bill of $14,000, I'm looking at that owner as one of my clients' landlords. So if this is one of my client's landlords, that's no wonder why my client can't get a 3-bedroom apartment for less than $1,600. Because if you break it down, $1,000 a month times 12 is $12,000. So that owner is paying about $1,200 just for property taxes. And if the owner owns a mortgage, then my client's rent is going to go up. My clients can't afford to buy property because they're busy paying off the rent. And so this affects me tremendously. But when I said that I was coming up here as Prophetess Graves, I just want to encourage everyone that it's time to make a difference. It's time to change. We can't do this by ourselves. Now, I've had the luxury of sitting in this situation, and I see it from both sides. I see it from my client's point of view. I see it because I am a renter. I see it because, and I'm looking at the lawmaker's side. And I'm saying, wow, this is a lot of insight. What can I do with this insight? What I'm going to do with this insight is I'm going to encourage you guys to don't give up. It's your voice that's going to make a difference. I hear a lot of testimonies of people saying, I'm tired. I've been fighting for 30 years. I've been fighting for 45 years. But I'm representing the millennials. And I'm looking at our grandmothers. They don't have anything to leave our people. And so the millennials, what we're going to have to do, or what they're going to have to do, because I'm right in the middle of both, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to start all over again. And that's why we can't keep wealth in our communities. Because we can't pass nothing down, because everybody has to start all over again. Each generation don't have anything left. So you have to make a change. You're the ones that are going to make a change. You know, the millennials, they're a different group of people. I teach them. I've been a professor for 5 years.
Triple A, man.
I taught at Robert Morris University for 5 years. I became a fellow professor, so I teach them. Not only do I teach them, I'm renting. I'm finding apartments for them because they don't have anything. They don't know their residential tenants ordinances. They don't know anything right now. They get everything from television, from YouTube. You know, they go to YouTube University for the most part. Everything from online. So it's up to us. So I'm here. I'm like, wow, why am I here, God? I'm here to encourage you that it's time for you to, it's gonna take you to make a difference. If your millennials is our leaders, our future, and we're having as hard a time we're having right now, what do we have to look forward to if we don't leave them something?
Yes.
So we have to fight for what we have. I know you guys are tired. I know for a fact you guys are tired. You see your loved ones dying in the middle of this battle. It's easier for you to fight, to just go and pay rent instead of pay the taxes and so forth. You don't want to go through that assessment process because you're going through it, like Cliff said, every year. 81 years old, and she has to get her property assessed every year. It's time. It's time. I mean, if we never had the time to fight, this is the time. The 30 years that you did it, it just made you an expert at doing it for a time such as this. It's not going to be as hard because you're an expert now. All you have to do is show up. That's why I want to talk to you as a prophetess. I want to encourage you that the time is now. The time is now. All you have to do is show up, just like you did today. And that's why we're doing these hearings, 5 more hearings. The second hearing, October the 4th, is in Austin. The third hearing, October the 12th, is on the south side of Chicago.
South Shore.
In South Shore. The fourth hearing, October the 15th, is in Coles County. So it's Coles County. He told me it's Coles County. The fifth hearing, October the 17th, is at Truman College, representing the west side, the north side. And the fifth or sixth hearing is in Aurora. Why is a state rep, Mary Flowers, having these hearings across the whole state? You know why? Because the time is now. The time is now. This is not even about a vote. With the time we get these type of hearings, it's about voting, right? When they come into the community, it's not about voting someone in at this point. It's about voting your family in. It's about giving these millennials and your grandchildren and your grandchildren something to, passing something down to them. Because if we don't do it, people say we have mental chains on. We might as well just put them on physically if we don't do something now. Thank you.
Thank you.